Hello? Hello? Hello?
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, testing, testing. 1, 2. 1, 2, testing.
Turn on this.
Don't worry about that. Yours is on. Don't tell us what to do, Mally. We're adults. We know what to do.
Mine.
You see, yours is just like Auntie's. It's all the same. Okay?
Testing, testing. Are we testing?
2 minutes.
Okay.
We have 2 minutes.
There.
Testing. Testing, testing, testing.
But you're not going to hear anything, okay? You'll hear it on the show.
Testing.
It's on. I don't hear it. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, I hear it finally.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, move off the wall.
Testing. Testing, testing.
Are we going to get a practice run? I don't even hear the music.
We don't have time.
All right, can you make sure that it's loud?
Yeah.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, if I do this, that means turn it up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good idea. And you'll let him know, okay?
12. Testing, testing. 1, 2,
Sometimes
3,
they
4,
have it
5,
too
6,
low.
7, 8. Testing, 1, 2. Testing, testing.
You see, guys, over here is the camera. Auntie's going to show you. Right here is the camera.
Camera?
This is the one we're going to... No, can you turn it up louder? It's Tiana Monet. I'm back at it. Just thanking my Lord and Savior. What a blessing it is to know what Christmas is really about. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. Whoa, this is a little loud. Thanks a lot. Super loud. I think this microphone is super loud. Yeah, I guess I have to be all the way over here. Testing. Even when you say testing, you can hear from here. Okay. Hello. Here I am. We're on. Okay. Okay. Hi, I'm Tiana Monet, and I'm glad to be here. Good job, friends. We're going to stand over here and get ready to do our song. Glad to be here, just giving honor to Jesus Christ. It's Tiana Monet. I'm back at it. Just thanking my Lord and Savior. What a blessing it is to know what Christmas is really about. Just giving him honor and praise. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time again. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. It only comes once a year. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time again. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. It only comes once a year. It's December 25th and I can't wait for this. It's time to open up my gifts. I was good all year, so I deserve good things as I walk in self-righteousness. But gift after gift, I find disappointment, dissatisfied and misled. So I talk to the Lord as I shake my head, and it's exactly what he said. He said,
money can't buy you everything. The most important thing in life is me. I'm the resurrection and the life, the truth and the light. Nothing else is guaranteed.
So I made confession I was greedy for possessions, but now it's clear for me to see. Just another learned lesson. The Lord reminds me that the best things in life are once a year. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it's Christmas time again. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it only comes once a year. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it's Christmas time again. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it only comes once a year. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it's Christmas time again. It's Christmas time, it's Christmas time, it only comes once a year. Christmas comes only once a year, but when you have Jesus Christ in your heart, you can experience Christmas every day of your life.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody, God bless you and welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. We just had a Christmas celebration song by our Christian rapper, Tiana Monet, and she has some company with her, her niece and her nephew. We had a little technical difficulties, so you know how that is. So y'all bear with us. Thank you. Thank you again for tuning in. Tiana's niece and nephew named Malachi, and I'm sorry, what was Cadence? We thank you all for that lovely selection. So thank you again and welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. I'm your talk show host, Pastor Crystal Jones, and it's so wonderful to see you all every day, all year long. You all participate. You come to my Facebook page. Sometimes y'all drop by the studio. I see you in the street, and you always give me a shout out and a word of encouragement, and that is very much appreciated. We are in our 6th year of production, so thanking God for keeping us this long. And to all the wonderful guests, those who have been guests in the past, those who are on the list to be guests in the future, thank you all. We appreciate you, and we're looking forward to just doing more and more different topics. You know, we cover a lot of things which have to do with community. And you know, my theme is balance, because although this is a faith-based show, it's all about having balance in life. You know, a lot of times people feel that those who are faith-based are unbalanced, but God wants us to cover every area of our life. He gives us the giftings and the talents to do so. So I like to cover everything from politics to religion to arts to everything that we experience in this life. That's a part of our life. So I'm just so glad to be able to bring people to the platform so you can see what's going on in the community, because you live in your community. You are a part of what happens in America, in these United States. We're here to make a difference using our gifts and talents. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. I have a couple of announcements. One of the main announcements right now is that we're preparing to go to Israel in 2019. I don't know if you have that on the screen, if you could put that up. We have a 2019 trip to Israel, 8 days in the Holy Land. It's called The Footsteps of Jesus. The tentative dates are October 22nd through the 29th and or November 5th through the 12th of 2019. So please contact me at thecrystaljoneshow@gmail.com, or on Facebook, go to The Crystal Jones Show. Make sure you type in The Crystal Jones Show. That will bring you right to my show page, and you can get information about how to be a part of this trip to Israel. This is the first time that we're doing this, and we have a wonderful company that we're working with. So we want as many as possible to be a part of it and to enjoy yourselves, come and learn things. This is a lot of people's first time going over to Israel. So we plan on having a good time. We have a wonderful company that has wonderful guides and people that are going to take us on the journey of Jesus. So we're going to be able to see where he lived, what he did, what he ate, you know, that type of thing. And also, as we know, Israel is basically in Africa. So we're going to find out about our African roots too. So it's going to be enjoyable. I would love for you to come along. I'm going to be your host. But of course, we're going to have people who are going to guide us around the country of Israel and show us the different sites and, you know, things of that sort. We're going to be staying at some wonderful hotels and resorts, and it's just going to be awesome. So get in touch with us, and you can, you know, be a part of this as well. So we are so glad today. I don't know if you all remember, many of you who followed me on my Facebook page, you saw when I was here at Lehman College a couple of weeks ago, and I had went to the 40th anniversary and gala for the Mind Builders Creative Arts Center. You saw me there taking shots of the people that were there. The executive director, she's here today in the studio, but many of you saw the dance routines that the young people did, the award presentation ceremony, and everything that went on. And a lot of you chimed in. You really enjoyed and you loved that. So I do have the CEO and director here today. She is with us here in the studio on the Crystal Jones Show. So we are so glad to have her with us. And I'm going to read you her bio. Her name is Madaha Kinsey-Lamb. She is the president and founder of Mind Builders Creative Arts Center. She's, like most people, are a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, a poet, and writer. Mind Builders conducts over 190 classes each week in music, dance, theater, martial arts, and community folk culture research for over 600 students from every zip code in the Bronx and surrounding areas. Madaha has a master's degree in educational leadership from the City College of New York, a bachelor's in elementary education from NYU, and a NYC public school teaching license. She founded Mind Builders in 1978, focusing on quality arts education and a special learning environment to build the lifelong self-esteem, leadership, and cultural appreciation of the youth and community where she lived. With the dedicated and talented partnership of hardworking teachers, staff, board, volunteers, families, and communities, she has since served in various leadership roles for the organization, including that of executive director for more than 25 years with their former municipal building purchased in 1984 and full renovation completed with city and state support in 2014. Madaha also has served as education director at Pius XII's North Bronx Family Service Center, curriculum development for Community Works, and as community folklorist, staff developer, and education consultant with educators for social responsibility, city lore, the Weeksville Preservative Society, and the New York Folklore Society. She serves on the boards of the New York Botanical Garden, Gill Community Services, and BronxNet Public Access Television, and is also a poet and a writer. She is grateful for the love and unwavering support of her husband, musician, composer, Andrew Lamb, as well as that of her two adult children, Salah Saran and Andrew Emeka, 3 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, and the blessing of extended family, friends, and colleagues. Today we welcome to the Crystal Jones Show, Madaha Kinsey-Lamb. Madaha, welcome to the Crystal Jones Show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice to finally have you here. We were able to go over to the Lovinger Center and to see the young people from your school, the performances that they did, but also to see the love of the community for you. You had people such as Andy King, Councilman Andy King, and different ones that were there who came and gave their support and gave great words of acknowledgement regarding the school. But the fact that your school gave back to those who really have supported you down through the years, to see that you all had the ceremony with the young people, bringing them up on the stage and acknowledging the things that these people have done over the years, because 40 years is a good space of time to have so many people that have graced your school. And I'm thankful that I had a chance to go and see the school and meet different people there. And what I also observed about the young people, that they're very well mannerable. They're very well mannered. They're mannerable young people, and they like people. And I love that this is what I believe your school also has incorporated into them, because you have, I'm sure, people from all walks of life.
Yes.
And for them to come around and see what's being done at the school, this shows everybody what they're learning. You know, not just at home, but there as well. So, give us a little history of your school and your thoughts on, you know, when you first formed the school. What was going on?
When you mentioned about the character, the personality, the presentation of the young people when you've met them, that really goes back to the whole reason why I founded Mind Builders and why so many people have come together from the community to make sure it gets this work done, that it's not just about music classes and dance classes, and that it never was.
Right.
I came from this passion for education and really being so struck as a public school teacher and seeing all the possibility that our young children have. And if they are in an environment that really focuses on their strengths, that builds their confidence, that really takes time to make learning interesting, and really focus on having their potential really blossom and bloom. And that was really the purpose, the mission, and the vision of Mind Builders, using music and dance and making sure that if there were students that wanted to become professional artists, and there are those, that they would get the quality of instruction, the type of teachers who have experience performing, who have dedicated their lifetimes to being artists, dancers, musicians, singers, visual artists, researchers. So they're getting the best that they could get to really hone their skills for the professional environment. But there are many students who are not there for that. Just as I took dance classes as a child and wrote poetry, this wasn't going to be my major profession, but it was something that every child should have in terms of getting a holistic education, that you should be exposed to arts and culture, to the thinking on the other side of your brain, as well as memorizing multiplication tables and how to sound out words. So that being able to build confidence and self-esteem and leadership, having young people know, number one, anything is possible for you.
Right.
You can accomplish anything.
That's
And
right.
those are the teachers we look for. That's the staff we look for, the board. And these are the people from the community that we were celebrating with this 40th anniversary, because they have helped to make this possible. They joined in that vision. They had that vision and that mission as well. I mean, some of the people that were getting awards, for example, were from the board of directors that had to sign personal guarantees with the bank for us to be able to buy the building that we have. Of course, it's hard to believe that we got the building for $20,000 back in 1984. We did have to do close to $1 million of renovation. I mean, we didn't have any money.
Right.
But talk about faith.
Yes.
That has always been about that faith.
Faith-based,
and
that's right.
and having it realized, you know, by the grace, really. So that these folks who signed personal guarantees, they had that faith, they believed, we worked, we found ways to get the money to renovate, and just, I mean, we talk about people like Assembly Speaker Carr Hasty that was there, that his support has been part of our survival.
Wow.
And Council Member Andy King and others, Cohen and a number of others, and over the years. Parents also pay tuition. You know, those who can afford to pay tuition do pay. It's kind of like a sliding scale.
Okay.
But we had to make sure that we would have classes that were free as well.
Right.
That this is definitely also reaching out to young people that may be considered at risk, as well as those who are at the top of their class and on the honor roll and all of that as well. That we're all there together and really working to bring out the potential of everyone. I mean, parents take classes, you know. We have senior citizens taking classes.
Wonderful.
So the first class was November of 1978. And that was the first November of 2018 when we had this event as well, exactly 40 years later. We started with just dance classes 40 years ago on a Saturday, renting space from Crawford Memorial Church. My daughter had been in the city daycare that was located in Crawford, and I asked the pastor if we could rent space. It turned out being $50 a month. Didn't know, you know, and it had to be parents paying $14 a month to help pay the rent and help pay for that teacher. But the response was so great. We were able to take 45 students, 15 in each of 3 classes, but within 3 months, it was almost 100 on the waiting list. Wow. So that was good indication that there were parents, there were families, there were students here in the community where I was living that had that same kind of interest and passion to have a complete and wonderful education for their child that included art and culture and creativity and critical thinking and leadership and responsibility.
Wonderful.
And people sometimes forget that the arts is one of the ways that you learn self-discipline.
You sure do.
You have to practice, you have to keep going and fall down and stand up again when you make mistakes.
You sure
But
do.
you learn, that's how you learn.
Definitely.
That it's not something wrong and it's not about giving up, but that's the process of learning. And you take that into whatever profession you go into.
You do. You do. I can identify with that because growing up, I was music. I was always in the choir, directing choirs and things of that sort. So it did teach me that discipline before I became a director. It was being to choir rehearsal on time, learning your part. You had to know that part. Tuning your ear so that you can make sure your section was correct, you know, and then from there going into leadership roles to help choirs to become disciplined. And I dealt with different choirs. Some were children's choirs, some were adult choirs. And so there are different things that you have to deal with that. So like you said, that discipline teaches you that you have to bring this out to them too. That if you want to sound better, if you want to do better, then you've got to keep yourself, you know, disciplined. And the arts are definitely a great way to help. Seems like people from all walks of life, whether or not, like you said, a lot of times a lot of children are labeled as, you know, they have different labels and titles on them. If they can't pay attention enough, they may have attention deficit and things like that. But it seems like when you introduce them to any type of music, whether they're singing it or they're able to play the drums or whatever area of music they can identify with, they're always able to identify with some area of the arts somewhere. So I personally think it should be in every school.
That's absolutely.
I definitely think so.
Yeah, it's part of the New York City curriculum, but it's gotten shifted in terms of more emphasis on learning how to take tests rather than building up your interest in learning so that you want to learn this and you devote your time to it. But one of the things when you mentioned about young people who may be considered differently able or have issues with attention, that's also part of our family and our mission as well. We can say that at least 15% of our enrollment may be considered differently abled in some way.
Okay.
We have some students who are on the autism spectrum. We have some that may have hearing or emotional or other types of things that you may not even know at the time that they register. But we all bring things to all that we do from our background and our experiences. And sometimes a dance teacher may not be able in 1 hour to deal with the whole spectrum of issues that a student has unless they get some special training for that. So we have been able to go after funds that help us to provide special training for our teachers so that they can work with all of the various types of learning abilities and styles that we have as human beings. So that we say it takes a special kind of teacher to be a mind builder. And we make sure that we invest time and funds that folks are good enough to give, and it includes the city and the state and National Endowment for the Arts, as well as parents paying tuition. But it does make us different from the average music school or dance school, that our teachers participate in training workshops. They share with each other the successful techniques that they have. The music department director, dance department director, theater and folk culture, they get evaluated, and they evaluate the teachers going into the classes, observing them, coaching them, brainstorming. How can we reach this one over here that doesn't seem that interested? Or how can that one maybe really get a better technique?
Wow.
So it is broad, and it is something Dr. Cynthia Lewis, who's the head of pediatrics at Bronx, Lebanon, she had, as a teenager, she had been in our teen program, the Positive Youth Troupe, an acting component that we have and that we still have openings for right now, as a matter of fact, that's free. And she says that she learned how to speak, like public speaking, that she uses now as the head of pediatrics, that she had learned that back in the day when she was taking acting classes that included voice and diction and all of that. So whatever profession a young person, or an adult even, is interested in and eventually goes into, the arts and the exposure to the arts and what they learn here can be something that can help those in other careers as well.
It definitely does, because I'm thinking about how you're talking about her with speech, being that I had to get before choirs and tell them, because before that I was very kind of introverted, but then having been given the role to lead choir, to lead choirs, then you have to talk. So it taught me how to relate to people. And like you said, there are people that may not be as interested because they may feel like for a singing group that it's not that important for them to be on key or, that type of thing. So then you're thinking, how can I get across to this person that it is important?
Yeah, learning to work as a team, that's part of job training, and career building as well.
So having been taught that and worked it for years, then moving into teaching and preaching, I had already had that experience of standing before people and instructing them. And not only that, when I had to sing lead, and sing lead and direct sometimes, because I had radio choirs. So sometimes you're maybe the lead soloist didn't show up.
Right.
So then what are you going to do? You got to get in there and you got to fill in the gap.
Right.
You got to make it happen.
Right, that's right.
Keep it moving, okay? You know, so that taught me that if you could do it in that arena, it's the same thing. You're just in another arena now. So you're doing the same thing. You're still teaching, and preaching is teaching. You're basically teaching people different principles. You know, within the Christian belief, if you're teaching basically the gospel can be related to everyday life.
Right.
Everything that Jesus taught is basically everyday life lessons.
Yes.
He taught, and people don't always realize it, but he taught about finance, about what to do with your money, about investing it, you know, in some of his parables. And a lot of people don't really get that when he had the different parables of what people did with their money and things like that. Also on family, just different things that he taught. He just basically taught little stories. And, you know, that's the same thing. So whatever you do, you're really actually teaching something, you know, whether you're in a classroom or not.
Right.
You're teaching. Your life is something that's teaching somebody
Absolutely.
different things to do. So I definitely can identify, you know, with what you're saying. But as far as your young people, I say your little tiny tots, you all have a division for them now, right?
Well, we have a number of things. One is you may be talking about the pre-kindergarten. We have
Yes,
universal pre-K, which is for 4-year-olds. So we have a class of 18. They meet, it's 5 days a week, from 8:30 in the morning to 2:30. And it's funded by New York City Department of Education.
Wow.
So that, and we have quite a waiting list, actually,
I'm sure.
as well. And the curriculum being monitored by the city and the state. Of course, the meals being provided. So all of this is happening in our building. We completed the larger renovation in 2014, and that was actually a $9 million renovation.
Wow.
Where we had to move out of the building, and we were renting space about a half a mile away for 4 years, continuing our classes, renting space from St. Brendan. They had a convent building that was empty, and we rented that while our renovation was going on. But the pre-K, we were able to start that about 3 years ago. This is going into the 4th year of that. And we also have, starting with 3-year-olds, Suzuki violin. And Suzuki is a Japanese technique for teaching very young children how to play by ear and using rhythm games and walking and clapping games and singing and real violins that are about this big, depending on the length of their arm. They start by learning Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And again, it's always professional instructors we use. But we do have lots of support, you know, in terms of in the office and in the cafe and all of that, with parents and other people from the community who volunteer. So we do welcome volunteers and really appreciate all the grace that they bring for us to be able to accomplish this work and for us to be able to keep classes affordable, to be able to give financial aid if someone is not able to meet the even affordable tuition, to make sure that things like the Positive Youth Troupe, the teen theater program is completely free, and students get a stipend for their participation in performances.
Oh, wow.
That
nice.
The community folk culture program as well is completely free. And the young people get a stipend depending on, you get it deducted if you're late, get deducted if you don't complete your assignments. If your participation is not on the same level as someone else, then just like a job, they
gotta be responsible.
Teenagers refer to this. I want to apply for the job, and we're like, oh, you mean the the folk culture program? Yes, you know,
wow.
where they and I can talk some more about our collaboration with the Smithsonian Museum on that program. But parents or grandparents or guardians take the Suzuki violin class with their child because the child has to take the instrument home and learn to practice and come back, having done their homework in order to make progress in learning the instrument. So the parents are in that class. Sometimes it's a grandparent that may be in the class or the guardian. So it does start with 3-year-olds, and our classes go all the way up to senior citizens. While most of our students, I would say more than 90%, I say between the ages of 6 and 16 or 17. We do have a good number of adults who take classes as well. And as I said, we start with 3-year-olds. We even have dance classes for 4-year-olds. We have Mommy and Me classes. So from 3 up to 103, there are classes.
Right?
We have modern dance, African dance, tap, ballet, praise dance.
Oh, you have praise dance?
Yeah, we have liturgical dance as well. We have hip hop. We have martial arts. So we get the guys in there and then get them to start to look at maybe you'd be interested in an instrument as well, drum or African dance is free for males, and African and tap are free for boys because those are also genres that we want to perpetuate. We don't want to lose this part of our culture just because young people are not familiar with it and don't see it on TV. So we also try and engage them however we can, but once you come into the building, get you to start looking at other possibilities. Maybe take a drama class.
That's right.
In addition to karate, Maybe do the research for folk culture and the Smithsonian as well. So that the instruments include saxophone, flute, clarinet, piano, voice lessons, violin, guitar. I don't know what I could be missing. We even had a program to teach young people, young adults, about recording, production. How do you do that? What is the career behind that? But also learning how to operate the equipment as well. Because we're looking forward to having some of our studios available for the community to rent as recording studios for their own creativity or for their own careers as well.
That's beautiful.
So those are the instruments. We have about close to 300 music students. We have close to 400 dance students. The theater program, we still have openings. We take 25 students for that from age 13 to 21. And the community folk culture program, the same kind of age range as well, where they learn to interview their elders and other people in the community who have held on to traditions that they learned when they were growing up. Things that they learned to do by hand, sewing, making hats, cooking, various parts of our culture that families pass down. Or that people teach themselves as they're growing up as well. So the teens learn to videotape them and record them. We keep this information that goes to the Library of Congress on what's the culture in the Bronx. Who are the people and how have they learned the things that have meant survival and beauty.
Yes. So do you find that with the boys, do you find that they normally when they come to the school, they're basically interested in the karate first? Is that?
Not necessarily.
It's not necessarily?
I mean, when we put the word out there that we have a teen theater program, there are, young men, sometimes they may even be 12 and they want to see if they can get into the program. So there are some that know that they're interested in acting, know that they're interested in performing or learning more about it. There are some who come, whether it be that they sing in their church, but they want to get more training and they want to look more professionally into this. They may come in just because they want private voice lesson scholarship and they can audition for that. So we have private lessons and we also have group lessons. But sometimes young men may come in through martial arts and don't even know that we have all of these instruments and all of these
Okay.
dance classes. So then they come into the building, a 4-story building, and they get to see on their way to class that they're hearing drums over here, and they're seeing some boys dancing over here. They see the acting over there. So getting exposed to these things can make a lifetime difference. And this is what it's about, having an impact for a lifetime,
It
no matter what
definitely
profession.
is.
Yeah.
Because in most communities, what I get from different people is that they have a hard time engaging the boys unless it's basketball, or football. And especially for African American young boys, I'm pretty sure they see the different basketball stars and things like that. And not that there's anything wrong with them wanting to achieve that, but I'm glad to see that there are other things within the communities for them, so that they'll know, okay, I don't necessarily have to play football, or I don't have to just play basketball. I can dance. I can sing. I can do production.
Yes, I can create. And the thing is that some of them are on football teams and they're also taking an instrument. Or, I mean,
Exactly.
some of these teams, like you've heard about football players, who
That
took
take
ballet
ballet,
classes,
yes.
right? Exactly. So they've heard of this too.
Yes.
And some of them are on basketball teams as well, so they may not be able to take classes on this day and this day because they have team practice. And same thing with the girls. They may be in track or whatever, or this may be the only thing that they're doing after school. This may be something that somehow it sparked, whether it was seeing a performance, coming to see their cousin perform at the end of the school year when we have our dance recitals and our music recitals, that may have inspired them, seeing something on television and then having some of our teachers come into their classroom in their school to say, maybe you never had any experience with this, but we take beginners. We can teach you various musical instruments, different ways to dance. You don't have to be good at it. That's the whole
Right.
point of taking classes and learning and letting them know that's what this is about, learning.
Definitely.
Yes, we don't expect that you come in knowing all of this. Don't be shy about it.
Uh-huh.
Everyone here is learning.
That's so true.
And that we have different levels. We have beginners and advanced beginners, all the way up to more advanced students and pre-professional as well.
Wow.
Ballet point, and pre-professional classes too.
Okay. Do you get the fathers that come by and maybe just want to see what's going on, or?
Yes, we
Okay.
do. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because it's just pretty incredible the kind of participation that we get from parents, from mothers and fathers. We have a work exchange program so that if an adult or a parent is interested in a class and they're not able to pay the tuition, or if they want a class for themselves, that they want to pay for their children, but may not be able to pay for themselves to have a class, we have a work exchange program.
Okay.
So that mothers and fathers and guardians may work 3 hours a week in exchange for their child taking a class, helping us in the office, helping us with costumes, helping us with maintenance,
Okay.
in the cafe, helping with games and keeping kids occupied in between classes. So there's a lot of participation by parents and grandparents.
Okay.
And that's what's happening now as well, that grandparents are bringing their grandchildren,
Okay.
and former students are bringing their children.
Right.
So that we are now seeing 3 generations participating as well.
Wow, wow. Okay. That is definitely awesome. I like to always see the participation of the adults. And not just the adults. I really like seeing more of the male participation, a little more in the communities now. And I mention that whenever I'm like helping other churches or things like that, I'll tell them I need this more of the support from the men in your congregation.
Yeah, I can think right away about some of the ways that the men have participated, the fathers and the grandfathers. And sometimes, I mean, there was even a gentleman who did work exchange helping us with maintenance in order for someone on his block to be able to take a class, you know? So we don't hear about these people in the news.
Yeah.
But these are our heroes too. That is going on every day. We have parents who help us with sound. You know, they may be working with a sound studio, help us to get equipment, help to do the sound engineering for us at shows sometimes. We have an intergenerational community ensemble, a music ensemble, a band, and it's free. It's open to anyone in the community who can read just a little bit of music.
Okay.
We have had fathers in there with their son. The
Oh,
son
that's
may be on the
beautiful.
keyboard, the father's on the bass or on the drums. We've had grandparents there with their grandchildren in the same group.
Right.
So we see a number of ways. We have a father now who works with TV, more commercial TV. So
Right.
he's helping us now to videotape some of the classes, to help get some of that on our website, to have it for funders to be able to see. We have other parents, a parent who works at Macy's who's trying to connect us with their foundation. So it's lots of ways that
great.
the fathers and the parents and the families in general, that they own this, that we all own this, and they're working to make sure that this continues.
Well, that is awesome because it seems like it's definitely a community-based school.
Absolutely.
Like where everybody is involved. So tell me a little bit about your teachers. You know, what are their like backgrounds or, you know?
We even have on the website that you can go and see, like if you're interested in a particular class, you can see almost all of our teachers have advanced degrees in their field. When we look pretty much for three things, that they can be nurturing, challenging, and exciting, that they can create classes that are all of that. But they have to have had professional training for several years in their field, that they have to have been able to perform professionally as well, whether they're a recording artist, a professional dancer, they are professional actors and directors. So whatever their field is, they have to be established in it professionally as a paid professional. They had to have had the degrees and the training or been mentored by people who are on that level of performers that you would know by name as well. And they have to have had years of successful teaching experience.
Right.
We give them a bit of a rigorous interview, and if we're able to have them teach a class that we can observe,
Exactly.
or if we can come and see them teaching, that's always the best. We usually have at least 2 interviews, maybe more, and they have to have references that can verify that they have taught well, that they're
Right.
reliable, that they're engaging, and that they have that mind builder's personality.
Wow. Okay, that's good. Your teachers are basically, you find most of them are like within their 20s, or like are they, you know, from every?
It goes the whole
Varied.
gamut. Usually they would be at least, say, from the age of graduating with a bachelor's, so that they would usually be at least around 23. And I can't say the oldest. I'm thinking of some of the teachers that you may have seen honored because they had been with us for a couple of decades.
Right.
There was one with a head full of white hair,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
who does a lot of work with the churches and with seniors, but he still has teenagers who used to be his students, who were when they were teens, that are now coming back with their children, not necessarily to take classes, but because they developed a relationship that when they were going through relationship issues as teenagers, they were able to talk with him after class and, you know, get some mentoring, and they have continued that. We have teachers who started as teens taking classes in acting with mind builders, who are now in movies, in TV series, on Broadway. So they became teachers even at Mind Builders. One of them, Gilbert Glenn Brown, who was a teenager at Mind Builders, then went on to NYU, got his degree in fine arts, went on to Hollywood, came back, taught at Mind Builders, and now he's gone again on tour doing Mountaintop, where he's playing Martin Luther King, and that's traveling throughout the country as well. So sometimes they start as students and go on to become teachers once they get their degrees and get the experience as well.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Do you have basically like I hear you talk about mentoring. Do you have a mentoring staff, or does it just kind of work out like that where the students will kind of gravitate to a different teacher or, you know, instructor, and that person just kind of just willingly maybe just mentors, you know, people from their class or...
So there's not a formally funded mentoring program.
Okay.
But it does happen, as you're saying, is one of the ways. But that usually we try to see if students are interested in being involved in other groups within Mind Builders, in addition to just a music class or a dance class, so that they may be part of the Youth Leadership Council. They may learn peer mediation so that they may help to resolve conflicts that may come up between each other as young people, in terms of looking for peaceful solution to conflicts, constructive solutions, nonviolent solutions, and then they get a chance to work with other staff members. That person in the peer mediation program may become their mentor, someone that they gravitate to. Or it may be a teacher, and sometimes it's the person behind the desk that they connect with. So you never know, because we all see it as our responsibility to give of our gifts and to tap into what the young people may need. We may connect with them from the front door, or we may connect with them in the classroom, or it may be in the cafe when they're helping to resolve an issue between other students.
Wow, okay. So where do you see the school going at this point? Is there something that, you know, you're kind of having an epiphany to add a little something to the school, or, you know, that type of thing?
We are constantly adding.
It sounds like it. That's
we
great,
are.
though.
And sometimes, you know, we really have to just remember, before you start something else new, let's make sure that this is paid for and it's operating the way we want. But you do get excited when you find out there are other needs, there are other things people are interested in. So we do ask people to call our number, call the office, ask for the classes that you're interested in, and if we don't have it, make sure you get put on the waiting list for that, so that we will start a class when we see that there is interest. Like we have yoga classes. We want more, and that's mostly for adults. We want more people for that. We have salsa classes. We'd like to have more people for that. We started Afro beats, both for teenagers and for adults. We got senior citizens in there, and we got, you know,
Explain
21.
that to me, though, that the Afro beats. I've seen
Afro
that
beats,
written, but I don't know what
that teacher, Angel, is from Brazil. She grew up in a French background in France as well, but she's really, really engaging. So it's using a combination of jazz, African rhythm, and the Latina, Brazilian kind of rhythms as well. So it's very upbeat. It's great for fitness, for losing weight, but you're enjoying your whole time. We have Zumba as well, and we have the adults who, and that's like a donation. So people pay whatever they can pay at the end of a class in order to participate in that as well. But that cafe is one of the dreams in terms of having a cafe that's open to the whole Bronx and the whole city with healthy food.
That would be awesome.
And for people to come in and see the possibility that's there with the cafe we have now, and we know where it can go. So that's one of the dreams. but renting out more of the space as well.
Yeah,
And
you
having it used for folks who want to have rehearsals there,
Okay.
or have events there. That we
Right.
want more and more of that. And the recording studio,
Oh,
as I
yes.
mentioned as well. We also have, I should mention, Mark Morris Dance Company has dance for individuals with Parkinson's disease. They
Really?
use our center for that every other week. They are still accepting people with Parkinson's or Alzheimer's who are interested in taking those classes, those movement classes. That is just for them. It's free, so people can also call Mind Builder's number for more info on how to get into those classes or how to spread the word on that, as well as the Team Theater Company.
Okay, well, as far as like the Parkinson's and that type of thing, would that also maybe include people with arthritis?
It
That
could.
kind of
I mean, well,
thing?
people with arthritis, they can also take the yoga class. I mean, I have a little arthritis myself, and
Yeah, I take the swimming for my.
I take yoga, you know. So there are a number of ways that, I mean, they may even take a praise dance class and have arthritis and just let the teacher know. And the teacher may be able, even with yoga, to say, you don't do these particular moves, but this particular move done this way can help you.
True.
We have students who have asthma, for example, who take wind instruments. They have to let the teacher know. But this is something that can strengthen their lungs as well, as long as we know.
That's true. Yeah, because I like I said, I have the knees with the arthritis, so weekly I go to several swimming instructing courses. I have an awesome coach, and that has been awesome for me because, you know, at one point it was really getting stiff and really tight in my legs, but that young lady really,
Okay.
you know, she really helped out. So I know that, you know, doctors recommend different things for you when they see that you have.
So
you
with
know,
the Parkinson's,
arthritis.
they can call because we can put them in touch with the program director from Mark Morris that runs that program in
Okay.
terms of what types of conditions and who it's best for. I'm sure we have something for you.
For that. Okay, well, thank you so much for being a part of the show. We were so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
It was awesome going to the gala
Thank
and
you so
seeing
much.
everybody. I really, really enjoyed myself, and I had got some good shots and some footage, and people on Facebook were clicking in and looking and
Great.
everything. So
Great.
it was awesome, and I definitely want to come and visit and, you know, see all what's going on there
Please.
at the school. But can you let everybody know where they can reach you?
Yes, Mind Builders Creative Arts Center. We're near Gun Hill Road and White Plains Road.
Okay.
3415 Olinville Avenue, between Magenta and Gun Hill, right near the number 2 train at Gun Hill, near all of the buses there, the 55, the 42, the 38, 28. Our phone number for more information is 718-652-6256.
Okay.
718-652-6256. And we have a website,
Okay.
which is mind and then a dash builders.org.
Okay.
They can register online, they can call and get information, and they can also stop by, get a tour.
Okay. Yes, that's awesome too. Well, again, thank you so much. The hour has gone by really quick.
Yeah.
But we would love for you to come back again.
Thank you.
You know, and because I know there's another piece I want to hear about the Smithsonian.
Oh, yes.
I definitely
Yes,
want to
yes,
get into
yes.
that. But I want to hear about that and all the things that will be happening between now and then. And of course, we'd like to hopefully get some of the young people, you know, if they could come and do a
Yes.
performance or
That would be
something
great.
like that. That would be
We
awesome.
would love to do that.
And I love their clothes. Oh, Lord, they look so good. The young ladies that were on the stage bringing the
Yes.
people up the pants.
Yes,
I said, I want
yes.
an outfit like that.
Yes, I just spoke to Darlene, who does our costumes. She did.
Oh, she does
a
your
wonderful.
costumes.
Yeah, and some of the costumes, you know, come from catalogs, but especially for the African, Brother Abu, we have a number of people who actually design and create the costumes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're about to wrap it up. Thank you all for joining us today on the Crystal Jones Show. We're going to have our last selection at this time with our Christian rapper, Tiana Monet. But, you know, come and visit my show page, The Crystal Jones Show at Facebook, and see what things we're doing here on the show. See what guests we're going to be having, upcoming guests. I put them up there on the show page and let you know. So, and if you know anybody that would like to, you know, be a guest, let me know. And we're going to have our last selection. I'm sorry. We're going to wrap it up. Sorry. We're going to wrap it up at this time. So, anyway, thank you all. God bless you. And, you know, I always tell you, you stay balanced.